The universe is always conspiring in your favor, and I'm going to prove it to you. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, in this video, I'm going to show you how life, the universe, or God is always conspiring in your favor. And understanding this is going to change your perspective about your life. You'll realize that life has always supported you, and this will help you become more aware so you can experience gratitude. When you do this, you automatically raise your frequency, you raise your vibration, and your whole life changes. Having an awakening of consciousness isn't about knowing that reptilians exist or that demons exist or all those kinds of conspiracies. Having an awakening of consciousness is to be redundant, conscious of what you are and conscious of so many things you weren't aware of before. You become aware, and that's an awakening. Even if you weren't aware before, that doesn't mean it didn't happen, that it didn't exist, or that it didn't happen to you before. It was just that you weren't aware. This exercise I'm going to teach you today will expand your consciousness in an incredible way, and you'll become aware of many things you didn't see before. That's when your consciousness expands, and you start to see that life is a miracle all the time. I want to clarify that I learned this exercise from Jesus. When I understood it, I saw it and thought, how did I not see this before? My God, it's incredible. Everything in your life is always conspiring in your favor. And to realize that, it's something as simple as what I'm about to tell you, coming up next. But for that, I need your cooperation, your participation. So I need you to visually scan wherever you are right now. In your room, your house, your living room. Look at all the objects and all the things you have there in your home, not just focusing on one, but on all of them, all at the same time. A vase, a chair, a TV, a piece of furniture, a sofa, a painting. Whatever is there where you are, be aware of it. All those things probably make your life a lot easier. Just with that, it already means that life conspired in my favor, so that my life, in some way or in some aspect, would be much easier. What happens is that we are so used to, so programmed by everyday life, that we aren't aware of those miracles, the synchronicities. You have no idea everything that has to happen in the universe for a simple TV, a simple vase, a simple painting being there. You can't imagine the number of miracles, the amount of synchronicities, the number of events that have to happen, and the number of people it involves and connects, just so you can have a vase there on your table at home. You don't believe me? Then let's do this exercise. For this, I need you please to pick any object you have at hand. I'm going to choose these headphones, or headset or earphones, whatever you call them in your country. This seems like an insignificant object, an everyday item, something unimportant, not spiritual, right? And this actually makes my life, in a certain way, a little bit easier. Why? Because I can listen to my music, because I can listen to a class, because I can watch this video without bothering anyone else, because I don't want my family to hear what I'm watching, so I use them. They make my life so much easier. It's something that works in my favor. But you have no idea everything that had to happen in the universe so that I could have a simple pair of earphones, headphones, or a headset in my hands. A series of miracles had to happen for this to be possible so that, in a way, I would have something working in my favor. I want you, please, while looking at your object, to think that at some point in your lives, before you had this object, you had a desire based on a need. For example, I want to listen to music in my room without bothering anyone else. Immediately, as soon as you had that desire, or actually long before you even had that desire, the universe was already conspiring in your favor. Or because God can see the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. So before I even had the desire to listen to music privately without bothering others, God already knew that in the future, so to speak, I was going to have that desire. So even before that desire ever occurred to me, God had already started moving all the pieces so that this object would exist. God had already started moving the pieces, conspiring in my favor, moving all the people, the circumstances, the synchronicities, so that one day in my life, this would end up in my hands. If you're not aware, I'm still gonna break it down for you so you can digest it more easily. What are these headphones made of? These headphones are made of plastic. Where does plastic come from? Plastic comes from petroleum. You have no idea everything that has to happen. You have no idea how many years have to go by for petroleum to exist. In order to have plastic, at some point in their life, someone had to come up with the idea of how to extract or invent plastic from petroleum. That person, maybe the one who invented plastic, I don't know who it is. That person who invented plastic or figured out how to extract it, petroleum, maybe it had to go through a lot of difficulties in their life. Maybe they had to go through a lot of difficulties in their life, a lot of needs. And based on those needs, they managed to invent something that is plastic. Not just that. This brand of these headphones is called JBL, this brand. At some point, someone had to imagine it in their mind. The person who invented this brand? JBL. You don't know. Everything they might have had to go through. The person who invented this might have had to go to college. Maybe. That person's parents had to work hard to pay for their college. That person might have had to take out a loan, maybe to start their business. And maybe they decided to start their business because of a tough situation they went through in life. Maybe at some point, because of a problem they faced in life, and based on that, they wanted to become an entrepreneur. They saw a need, something happened to them, and they said, no, I want to invent a brand of headphones so people can listen to music. That person had to go to a bank to ask for a loan, but in order to get a loan, a bank manager has to approve it. But you don't know everything that person or the bank manager had to go through to become a bank manager. The bank is located in a building. That building is made of bricks. Someone had to invent a brick company in order to build that bank. The building where the bank is was designed by an architect. Someone had to go to college to study and become an architect to be able to build that bank or that bank building. Someone had to come up with the idea of the bank itself. And not just that. That bank manager and the person who went to ask for a loan from the bank, who is the creator of this brand, had to be in the right place at the right time to cross paths so that they would meet at just the right moment in their lives so that one could ask for the loan and the other could grant it. Not only that, but to be able to build these headphones, you need certain machines. An engineer had to invent those machines. Those machines are made of iron, maybe of metal. Someone had to invent or extract the iron somehow. That person with the bank loan had to set up that company. Not only that, they had to hire people to work in that factory. Those people had to go through a lot of events, a lot of experiences in order to go look for a job and get hired at the exact moment, at the exact time in that company. Once the machine or the company or the factory builds it, someone has to sell it in an electronics store. That person, in order to set up that business where they sell electronic products, also probably had to ask for a loan or go to a bank. They had to save up and go through a lot of experiences to be able to get that money. And to be able to start that business where they sell music or audio products like these headphones, these headsets. Again, the building where that store is located had to be built by someone who went through another series of experiences. And not only that, in order to transport this product from the factory to the point of sale, it has to be moved along a road. Roads are made from petroleum. Again, it takes millions of years for petroleum to exist in order to create asphalt so that a road can go. Roads are built by civil engineers. To move goods from the factory to the point of sale, that's done by a transporter. Using a truck, his truck, the truck which had to go through a lot of things and experiences. In order to save money, apply for a loan, and buy himself a truck. But the truck had to be invented by someone, an engineer. It took a lot of experiences and years for someone to invent a truck brand. That truck driver had to get a driver's license. The license, which someone set up that driver's license business. So that truck driver had to be at the exact moment, at the exact time, on the exact day where these were, not even others, but these specific ones, the ones I have in my hand, had to be in the exact box at the exact time so that truck driver could pick up the merchandise and transport it to a point of sale. At some point in my life, I had to have the desire. When I had the desire, I wanted new headphones. God had already done everything I'm telling you about. God had already made all those synchronicities and events happen because he knew that at some point in my life I was going to have that desire to be able to listen to music peacefully through my headphones. So I had to be at the exact moment, at the exact time, passing by the exact store that someone decided to open in the exact year. So that I, and not someone else, on a Monday at 4 in the afternoon in a specific store, would decide to buy these headphones or this headset, and not someone else, but me. So from the moment oil existed, from the moment someone extracted the plastic, the oil, these headphones were already destined to be mine. Everything had already conspired for them to be mine. But watch out, if at any moment that Monday, the day I bought this, 5 minutes earlier, I decide that I'm not going to buy headphones, a headset, earphones, all those things I just mentioned to you, all that series of events and processes that had to happen so that I could buy this. On a Monday at 4 in the afternoon, if I, on a Monday, at 3:55 in the afternoon, at the last minute, I decide not to buy the headphones, all those events I just explained. They get changed and the whole movie rewinds. And then God has to find someone else who has the same desire. With just one desire or one decision I make, I change the whole universe. And not just backward, but forward too. Because if I, on a Monday at 3:55 in the afternoon, I decide not to buy these headphones. Where would these headphones be? Right now? Would they be here with me? No, they'd be in another house with someone else, which means it would be a different alternate reality. The craziest part is that this other reality, a parallel reality, is also existing. But in my view of linear time, today, they're here with me, based on a series of decisions that many people have made. And as the last person, I made that decision. So notice that the universe has always conspired in my favor to have a TV, to have a piece of furniture, a sofa, to have a painting, to have a lamp. It has always conspired. Because this sofa I have here is making my life easier because I can lie down to rest on something cushioned. That means the universe conspired in my favor so I could rest. Have you already thanked God for your sofa? Have you already thanked God for your headphones? Have you already thanked God for this camera that exists? Because if someone hadn't decided to invent a brand of video cameras, you wouldn't be able to listen to this information right now. If someone hadn't made the decision to create the YouTube platform, you wouldn't be able to watch this right now. So, thank God for everything. Look at everything around you and say, thank God for this painting. Thank God for this wall. Thank God for this table. Thank God for this sofa. Being aware of this will raise your frequency, your vibration, your energy, because you'll become aware of something you weren't before. The universe is always conspiring in my favor, and every decision I make will alter the universe. Remember, if I hadn't made the decision to buy this at the last minute, then all these events would have been rewound. And then reality would be different. Every decision you make is super important because the universe will start to conspire and move the pieces, the events, the circumstances, and the people so that it becomes reality. I learned this from Jesus. When I understood it, I said, wow, my God, thank you. Understanding this automatically took me out of that low vibration, out of the frequency of complaining, of blame, out of fear, out of scarcity. And it put me in a state of abundance and gratitude. Thank God for everything, because everything is always conspired in your favor. My people, if you want to learn more concepts like these, I invite you to join my study community on the school platform for $30 a month, where every Sunday we have live classes for 4 hours, and they're recorded so you can watch them at your own pace. Just for $30 a month. You can do it through the link I'm going to leave in the description of this video or in the comments. There will be a link there. Click on it, subscribe to Premium, and you'll be able to join my live classes and ask me any questions you want, and I'll guide you. Besides that, I have a book that you can find on Amazon called El Despertar de Despertando con Eric. Also, if you want to receive my guidance in a more private way, you can do so through my private mentorships, which last 2 months. We meet once a week for those. So, my friends, you have plenty of options to keep awakening, to become aware, and to understand that you are the creator of your reality. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, which would help me a lot, and share it with everyone so I can grow. And so the message can spread even further. So, my friends, I'll see you next time.